Welcome back to the archive. I'm glad you're here. It's late, or maybe it's just that quiet part of the afternoon where the light starts to fail and the shadows in the corner of the room seem to grow a little longer than they should. If you've spent your day fighting against the clock, or if you've been carrying a weight in your 100 pounds chest that you can't quite name, I want you to do something for me. Put your phone face down. Adjust the pillow. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. You don't have to do anything for the next 40 minutes. You don't have to be productive. You don't have to be okay. You just have to exist here, in the dark, with me. Tonight, we are leaving the Earth behind, not because we want to escape our lives, but because sometimes the only way to understand the scale of our own hearts is to compare them to the scale of the infinite. We're going to look into the void. But I promise you, the void isn't empty. It's crowded, it's loud, and it's far more personal than you've been led to believe. Let's start with a thought that usually keeps people awake, but tonight I wanted to help you sleep. Think about the concept of home. We think of home as a house, a street, a city. But you are currently sitting on a rock that is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting a ball of fire at 67,000 miles per hour, which is itself screaming through a galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour. We are never in the same place twice. By the time I finish this sentence, you are thousands of miles away from where you were when I started it. We are cosmic nomads, and yet we feel so stagnant, don't we? We feel stuck in our jobs, stuck in our routines. But the universe doesn't know how to be stuck. It only knows how to move. But where is it moving to? This is where things become strange. If you look at the stars, everything seems fixed. But deep in the direction of the Centaurus and Hydra constellations, there is something called the Great Attractor. For decades, astronomers noticed that our galaxy and thousands of others around us are being pulled toward a specific point in space. We are being dragged at millions of miles per hour toward a hidden gravity. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. We can't see what it is. It lies in the zone of avoidance, a part of the sky obscured by our own galaxy's dust. We are being summoned by an invisible ghost, a force so massive it dictates the destiny of billions of stars, yet it remains completely hidden from our sight. I think about that when I'm overthinking at 3 a.m. We often feel pulled towards certain anxieties or certain people, even when we can't see the reason why. We feel a gravity in our lives that we can't explain. The universe is no different. It has its own secrets that it keeps behind a veil of dust. But let's go smaller. Let's talk about the rogue planets. When we think of a planet, we think of a family, a sun in the middle, and the planets circling it like children around a campfire. It's warm, it's predictable, but for every planet that stays with its sun, there are others, billions of others, that have been kicked out. These are the orphans of the cosmos. Imagine a world the size of Jupiter, drifting through the absolute blackness between the stars. It has no sun, it has no morning. It has no seasons. It is a world of eternal night. If you stood on its surface, you wouldn't see a horizon. You would just see a crystalline vault of distant cold stars that offer no warmth. Scientists believe there are more rogue planets in our galaxy than there are stars. Space is full of these lonely wanderers. But here is the part that is truly fascinating. Some of these planets might be warm. Deep beneath their frozen surfaces, geothermal energy could keep oceans of liquid water alive for billions of years. There could be life on a rogue planet, a civilization that has never seen a sun, a culture that doesn't have a word for daylight. They would live in a world of pure internal heat, protected by a crust of ice, drifting through the void in total solitude. I find a strange comfort in that. The idea that you can be completely lost from the light, completely alone in the dark and still carry a fire inside you. You can still have an ocean of life deep within, even when the rest of the universe looks cold and empty from the outside. You don't need a sun to be alive. You just need your own core to keep burning. But space isn't just a place for things to drift. It's a place that screams. We are told that space is a vacuum, and that in space no one can hear you scream. That's a lie. Well, it's a half-truth. Sound can't travel through a vacuum the way it does through air, but space is filled with plasma and electromagnetic waves. And when we translate those waves into sound, we can hear the sound of the waves. The universe reveals a voice that is hauntingly beautiful and utterly terrifying. Have you ever heard the sound of a black hole? NASA recently released the sonification of a black hole in the Perseus galaxy cluster. It doesn't sound like a hum or a whistle. It sounds like a low, guttural moan. It sounds like a choir of 1,000 voices trapped in a deep well. It is a note so low that no human ear could ever catch it, but it is vibrating the very fabric of space-time itself. It sounds like grief. And then there are the pulsars, dead stars that spin hundreds of times per second, beaming radiation out like a lighthouse. When we listen to them, they sound like a frantic, rhythmic heartbeat. When you're lying there and your own heart feels like it's beating too fast because of a deadline or a regret, remember that the stars are doing the same thing. The universe has a pulse. It's not a silent, cold machine. It's a vibrating, singing, beating heart. But I want to tell you about the oldest thing you will ever touch. If you still have an old-fashioned television, the kind that shows static when you're between channels, I want you to realize what you're looking at. About 1% of that static is the cosmic microwave background radiation. It is the afterglow of the Big Bang. When you see that flickering white noise on a screen, you are literally watching the birth of the universe. You are seeing the echo of the moment light was first created, 13.8 billion years ago. It's still here. It's in the room with you. It's passing through your skin right now. We feel so transient, don't we? We feel like we're here for 80 years and then we're gone. But you are made of atoms that were forged in the hearts of stars that exploded billions of years before the Earth was born. And you are currently being bathed in the light of the beginning of time. You aren't just in the universe. You are a part of its long, slow conversation. Imagine you are traveling in a straight line through the cosmos. You pass galaxies, nebulae, and clusters of stars like glowing cities. But then you reach the edge of a place called the Bootes Void. In most of space, you can expect to find a galaxy every few million light years. It's a crowded neighborhood, but the Bootes Void is a sphere of nothingness so vast that it is nearly 330 million light years across. If the Milky Way were in the center of the Bootes Void, it would be the largest galaxy in the universe. We wouldn't have known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. We would have looked out into the sky and seen nothing, just a wall of black. It is often called the Great Nothing. Scientists struggle to explain why it exists. Some think it's just a statistical fluke, a place where gravity didn't work the way it should, it did everywhere else. But others, those who allow themselves to wander in the dark, have suggested something far more unsettling. They look at the missing galaxies and wonder if they were harvested. If something so vast and so ancient moved through that sector of space that it wiped the canvas clean. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? The idea of a silence so absolute that it swallows entire civilizations. But I look at it differently. I think we all have a Bootes Void inside us. We all have those days where we feel empty, where the things that used to bring us joy, the galaxies of our lives, seem to have vanished, leaving only a cold, hollow space. But here is the part almost nobody talks about. Even in the Bootes Void, there are a few lonely, isolated galaxies, about 60 of them scattered like dust in a cathedral. They are the ultimate survivors. They exist in a place where they should be impossible. And maybe that's the lesson of the great nothing. Even in the deepest emptiness, something can still burn. You don't need a crowd to be a sun. But let's move back toward the light, or rather, a light that is stolen. I promised to tell you about the vampires of the cosmos. In our world, we think of time as a one-way street. We get older, we lose our energy, and eventually, we fade. Stars are supposed to be the same. They have a set amount of hydrogen fuel. When it's gone, they die. But in the deep, crowded clusters of the Milky Way, astronomers found something that shouldn't be there: blue stragglers. These are stars that are much hotter and much younger than all the stars around them. For a long time, we didn't know how they did it. They seem to have found the fountain of youth, but the truth is much darker. A blue straggler is a vampire star. It usually starts as a binary system, two stars orbiting each other. One star, the smaller and more hungry one, begins to pull the outer layers of its companion toward itself. It literally sucks the hydrogen off its partner, feeding on its life force until the companion is nothing but a cold white dwarf, a ghost of a star. By stealing that fuel, the blue straggler glows brighter. It looks young, it looks powerful, but it's a borrowed life. It makes me think about the people we encounter in our own lives, the energy vampires who take our light to fuel their own. We've all been the companion star at some point, haven't we? Giving away pieces of our peace, our time, and our energy until we feel hollowed out. But remember, the companion star, the one that gave everything away, eventually becomes a white dwarf. And a white dwarf is one of the densest, most resilient objects in the universe. It is a core of pure diamond-like carbon that will outlive the very star that fed on it. There is a strength in having survived being used. You become something that can't be compressed anymore. You become the foundation. But space isn't just a place of light and gravity. It's a sensory experience. If you were to step outside your spaceship, and I don't recommend this, for a split second before the vacuum claimed you, you might notice something bizarre. Space has a smell. Astronauts returning from spacewalks have consistently reported a distinct odor clinging to their suits once the airlock is repressurized. They don't describe it as clean or empty. They describe it as the smell of seared steak, hot metal, and welding fumes. Think about that. The infinite cold void smells like a backyard barbecue or a machine shop. Why? Because when stars die, they pump out polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, molecules that are essentially the soot of the universe. This soot is drifting everywhere. When you look up at the night sky, you aren't just looking at light. You're looking at the universe. You're looking at the smoke of a billion-year-old fire. It brings the cosmos down to Earth, doesn't it? It makes the stars feel less like distant gods and more like something physical, something you could touch, something that has a scent. It's a reminder that we aren't separate from the universe. We are made of the same soot. We are the smoke that has learned how to think. But as we drift closer to home, I want to talk about our own neighbor, the one who watches us every night while we sleep, the moon. We think we know the moon. We've walked on it. We've mapped it. But the moon holds a secret that is so strange it sounds like science fiction. In 1969, during the Apollo 12 mission, the astronauts intentionally crashed the lunar module's ascent stage back onto the moon's surface. They had set up seismometers to measure the impact. They expected a small thud. Instead, the moon rang like a bell. For over an hour, the moon vibrated. It didn't just shake, it resonated. It behaved like a hollow metallic sphere. When Apollo 13 did the same thing with a much larger rocket stage, the moon rang for over 3 hours. For years, this has fueled the hollow moon theory, the idea that 1969 was the year the moon was hollow, The moon isn't a natural satellite, but a giant ancient megastructure. Now, most scientists will tell you it's because the moon is much drier and more rigid than the Earth, allowing vibrations to travel without being damped by water or soft soil. But I like the image of the moon as a bell. I like the idea that every time a meteorite hits it, the moon sends out a low humming note that vibrates through the silent vacuum. It's like a guardian standing there in the dark, constantly being struck and constantly ringing out a warning that we can't quite hear. How many times have you felt like that? Struck by life, vibrating with a note that nobody around you seems to notice. You aren't broken because you're ringing. You're just built of something solid. You're built of something that remembers the impact. I hope you're still with me. There's a specific kind of silence that happens at this hour. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the presence of a deep, heavy stillness. It's the kind of silence that makes you notice the sound of your own heartbeat. It's the kind of silence that makes you feel like the only person left on the planet. In the history of our species, there is one man who knows that feeling better than anyone else, anyone who has ever lived. I want to tell you about Michael Collins. In July of 1969, the world was looking at two men, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. They were the ones walking on the moon, making history, their voices crackling across every television on Earth. But there was a third man. Michael Collins was the pilot of the command module, Columbia. While his friends were down in the dust, Michael was alone, orbiting the moon. Every time his orbit took him behind the far side of the moon, he lost all radio contact with Earth. For 48 minutes of every revolution, he was cut off from the entire human race. There was the moon beneath him, the infinite blackness in front of him, and 250,000 miles of nothingness between him and the next living soul. NASA's mission logs from those moments are haunting. They described him as the loneliest man since Adam. But here is the part almost nobody talks about. People expected Michael to be terrified. They expected him to be overwhelmed by the crushing weight of that isolation. But in his own journals, Michael wrote that he felt a strange, profound sense of peace. He said, "I am it now, alone, solitary, but I feel no loneliness. I feel very much a part of what is taking place on the lunar surface. I like it." I think about Michael Collins when I feel like I'm drifting. We're taught to fear being alone. We're taught that if we aren't connected, if we aren't part of the conversation, if we aren't on the surface where the action is, then we don't exist. But there is a power in that 48-minute silence. There is a dignity in being the one who holds the ship together while everyone else is distracted by the spectacle. If you feel like you're in the far side of the orbit tonight, if you feel like your radio is silent and the world has forgotten you're there, just remember Michael Collins. He wasn't lost. He was just in the only place where he could truly see the whole picture. But as we look out from Michael's window, we have to ask a question that has haunted every civilization that has ever looked at the stars. Where is everybody? This is the Fermi paradox. We know there are billions of stars in our galaxy. We know that most of them have planets. We know that the ingredients for life are scattered everywhere like cosmic flour. Mathematically, the universe should be teeming with voices. It should be a crowded, noisy, chaotic neighborhood. And yet, the great silence. For 60 years, we've been pointing our most sensitive ears at the sky, and we have heard nothing but the hiss of radiation and the moan of dying stars. It's like walking into a massive lit-up city and finding every street empty, every window dark, every car abandoned. There are many theories as to why. Some scientists talk about the Great Filter, the idea that there is some wall that every civilization hits that destroys them before they can reach the stars. Maybe it's nuclear war, maybe it's AI, maybe it's something we haven't even invented yet. But there is a darker theory, one that I find particularly unsettling when the room is this quiet. It's called the dark forest theory. Imagine the universe is a dark forest at night. It is full of hunters. Every hunter is armed, and every hunter is terrified. In this forest, the only way to stay alive is to stay silent. If you see a light, you don't call out to it. You don't try to make a friend. You shoot. Because if you don't, they might shoot you first. According to this theory, the reason the universe is silent isn't because there's no one out there. It's because everyone is hiding. We are the only ones screaming into the forest, broadcasting our location, sending out gold records and radio waves, like a child lost in the woods shouting for a parent. It makes our search for connection feel so much more fragile, doesn't it? We spend our lives trying to be heard, trying to be seen, never realizing that sometimes the safest place to be is in the shadows. But here is where things become strange, because even if the universe is a dark forest, it is also a place of impossible, dreamlike beauty. I want to tell you about 55 Cancri E. It's a planet about 40 light-years away. It's twice the size of Earth, and it orbits its star so closely that a year there lasts only 18 hours. It is a world of hellish heat. But because the planet is so rich in carbon and the internal pressure is so immense, scientists believe that at least a third of this planet's mass isn't rock or iron. It's diamond. Imagine a world where the mountains are made of pressurized carbon, where the dirt is diamond dust, where the interior of the planet is one giant crystalline structure. It's a literal treasure chest drifting in the void, but it's a treasure no one can ever touch. The surface temperature is nearly 4,000 degrees. It is a beautiful, sparkling grave. It's a reminder that the universe doesn't care about our definitions of value. Gold, diamonds, rare metals. To us, they are the things we fight and die for. To the universe, they are just the inevitable result of heat and pressure. The universe is rich in ways we can't even comprehend, but its riches are indifferent to us. But let's talk about something even more valuable than diamonds. Let's talk about time. In space, time is a physical thing. It's not a steady tick on a wall. It's a fabric that can be stretched and pulled. This is time dilation. If you were to travel to a black hole and orbit just outside its event horizon for an hour, and then return to Earth, everyone you knew would be dead. Hundreds of years would have passed on Earth while you were only away for a lunch break. Gravity literally slows time down. The stronger the gravity, the slower the clock. This isn't a theory. We have to account for it every day with our GPS satellites. Their clocks run slightly faster than the ones on your phone because they are further away from the Earth's gravity. I find this profoundly emotional because it means that the universe is designed to keep us apart. If you go too far, or too fast, or too deep into the dark, you can never really come back. You can return to the same coordinates, but you can never return to the same moment. We experience a version of this in our own lives, don't we? When we go through a period of deep grief, or a long illness, or a time of intense overthinking, we often feel like time has slowed down for us, while the rest of the world has kept moving. We emerge from our black hole and find that our friends have moved on, the trends have changed, and we are strangers in our own lives. We are all time travelers, in a way. We are all moving through different gravities. But before we close this part of the archive, I want to take you to the most mysterious structure ever found in space. It doesn't have a name like the Great Attractor or the Booty's Void. It's just known by a number, KIC 8462852, better known as Tabby's Star. A few years ago, astronomers noticed something impossible. Usually, when a planet passes in front of a star, the star's light dips by about 1%. It's a steady, predictable blink. But Tabby's star was dipping by 22%, And the dips weren't rhythmic. They were chaotic. Huge, jagged shadows were being cast across the star. Something was blocking the light, something massive, something that wasn't a planet. The internet went wild. People talked about Dyson spheres, giant alien structures built to harvest the star's energy. Scientists looked for explanations, a swarm of comets, a shattered planet, a cloud of dust. But nothing quite fits the data. To this day, we don't know what's happening at Tabby's star. We are looking at a shadow 1,400 light-years away, and we have no idea what's casting it. I love that. I love that in an age where we think we have mapped everything, the universe can still throw a shadow at us that we can't explain. It's a reminder that we are still children looking at shapes in the clouds. I'm going to leave you with that shadow for a moment. Let it hang in the back of your mind. We spend so much of our lives worrying about the small ends, the end of a relationship, the end of a job, the end of a day that felt like it would never stop demanding things from us. But tonight I want to take you to the very end of the story. I want to show you the final page of the universe. Not because it's sad, but because there is a strange, breathtaking beauty in knowing that even the stars have a bedtime. If you're still awake, and I hope you are, I want you to imagine a clock. But this isn't a clock that measures hours. It's a clock that measures trillions of years. And right now, in our current age, the universe is just a newborn. We are living in the era of stars. The sky is full of light, the galaxies are churning out new life, and the fire is still hot. But fire eventually runs out of fuel. In about 100 trillion years, the last star will be born. It will likely be a tiny, dim red dwarf, a small, humble ember that doesn't ask for much. These stars live for a very long time. They don't burn bright and fast like our sun. They sip their fuel slowly, like a person trying to make a single cup of tea last a whole winter. But eventually even that tiny flame will flicker. The last red dwarf will go dark, and when it does, the universe will enter the degenerate era. Imagine a sky where there are no more lights. There are only ghosts. The white dwarfs, those dense diamond core remnants we talked about, will be the only things left of the stars. They will slowly, over quadrillions of years, 10 to the power of 42, cool down until they become black dwarfs. They won't glow. They won't radiate heat. They will just be cold, dark spheres of carbon drifting in an expanding void. It's a thought that usually triggers that familiar spike of overthinking, isn't it? That feeling of, what's the point? If it all goes dark, if nothing remains, why are we sitting here tonight wondering about it? But here is the part almost nobody talks about. Even in that absolute darkness, the universe is still busy. After the stars are gone, we enter the black hole era. For a time so long that the human mind literally cannot find a word for the number, the black holes will be the masters of the cosmos. They will be the only things with any gravity left. They will slowly swallow the remaining dust and the cold cinders of stars. But even black holes aren't eternal. Remember what we said about Stephen Hawking? He discovered that black holes leak. It's called one Hawking radiation. At a rate so slow it would make a glacier look like a lightning bolt, black holes are evaporating. They are losing mass, one tiny particle at a time. Eventually, even the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy will reach its final moment. It will have spent 10 to the power of 100 years, a number 1 followed by a 100 zeros, slowly dissolving into the void, and in its final second it will go out with a tiny, brilliant flash of light, a final spark in a universe that has been dark for an eternity. And then, the Dark Era. This is the heat death of the universe. It doesn't mean the universe is hot. It means the temperature is zero, is uniform. There is no more energy to be moved. There is no more work to be done. The universe has reached maximum entropy. Every atom will be so far apart from every other atom that they will never meet again. A single electron might drift for 1 trillion miles without ever seeing another particle. The universe will be a cold, empty, silent house where the owner has finally turned off the last light and walked away. It sounds lonely. It sounds like the ultimate version of that isolation Michael Collins felt behind the moon. But I want to offer you a different perspective. There is a theory, a beautiful, fragile idea, called Poincaré recurrence. It's a mathematical concept that suggests that in a finite system with an infinite amount of time, every possible state will eventually happen again. If you have a box of gas and you wait long enough, eventually all the molecules will end up in exactly the same position they started in. It might take 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 70 years, but mathematically it's inevitable. If that's true, it means that somewhere in the infinite after of the heat death, the atoms that make up your bed, your room, and your very heart will, by pure statistical chance, find each other again. This moment, me speaking, you listening, the quiet of the night, will happen again. Not because of magic, but because of the sheer, stubborn persistence of time. We think of the end as a wall, but maybe it's just a very, very long circle. I know you're tired. I can hear it in the way the silence settles. You've carried a lot today. You've navigated a world that is loud and fast, and often very unkind to people who think as deeply as you do. You've been looking for a place to put your thoughts down, and I hope you found it here. Before I let you go into the deep sleep I know you need, I want to tell you one last thing. Scientists often talk about the fine-tuning of the universe. They notice that if the strength of gravity was just a fraction different, or if the charge of an electron was slightly altered, stars would never have formed. Life would never have happened. We are living in a universe that is perfectly balanced on a razor's edge. Some people see that as proof of a creator. Others see it as a lucky accident. But I see it as a responsibility. The universe spent 13.8 billion years evolving just so it could produce a brain capable of wondering why it exists. You are the universe's way of experiencing itself. When you feel small or lonely or exhausted by the trivialities of your life, remember that you are a biological miracle. You are a collection of stardust that learned how to feel sad. You are the smoke that learned how to dream. The void is vast, yes, and the dark is coming for the stars. But right now, in this tiny window of cosmic time, the lights are on, and you are here to see them. I'm going to stay here for a while, keeping the archive open. There are so many more folders to go through, so many more mysteries to whisper about. We still haven't talked about the out-of-place artifacts found in coal mines, or the strange rhythmic signals coming from the center of the earth, or the forgotten city in the Amazon that was built out of pure white stone. But that's for another night. For now, I want you to let the pressure go. Imagine yourself as a rogue planet, drifting through a soft, safe blue darkness. You don't have to orbit anyone. You don't have to shine for anyone. You are just you. Close your eyes. Let the air in the room become a warm ocean. You are safe. You are heard. And you are part of a story that is much bigger than your worries. I'll be here when you wake up, or I'll be here the next time the world becomes too loud and you need to find the silence again. Sleep well, traveler. The stars are watching, but they're in no rush. The archive is closing for tonight, but the light is never truly gone.